thanks for being here.
Thank you for
All
having
right.
me.
OC Biz Live, guys, every Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Today, I am thrilled to have somebody that I met quite a while. How long? We've known each other for a while, huh? She was like, she was almost in diapers when I, no, just kidding.
Okay, not that
Not
far
that long,
back,
not that
long.
But I met her a long time ago, actually, when I started talking to my good friend who was the founder and creator of AISS, Mr. Paul Reardon. So Karla Perez Ramirez is not only now involved with AISS, she's actually an alumni. So she's going to talk to us a little bit about herself. First of all, we're going to find out quién es Karla Perez Ramirez. Who are you? Like, where'd you grow up? What schools did you go to? What are you doing now? And obviously, I know you're very successful with your engineering and stuff. So let's talk about that. But let's first talk about what where you came from, what schools you went to, stuff like that.
Yeah, so I was born in Mexico.
Okay.
I'm from La Piedad, Michoacan.
Okay.
And I came here. When I was about 8.
Okay.
And I grew up in Turlock for a good chunk of my.
Turlock. Where's Turlock?
Turlock is near Ceres, Modesto, up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, up there.
Okay.
Fresno, up in that area.
Okay.
Sorry, up in that area.
Uh-huh.
And then so up until like maybe beginning of 6th grade is when I ended up coming into Santa Ana.
Oh, okay.
So then I ended up going to McFadden and pretty much stayed in Santa Ana.
What high school did you go to?
I went to Century High School.
Century.
Century.
Okay. All right.
I went to Century High. I was supposed to go to Segerstrom. They were brand new school.
Okay.
And we were gonna be the first full class.
Okay.
So we had to vote for the mascots and everything. And I lived right around the corner, like 5 minutes walking distance.
Oh, nice.
And then we ended up moving. So I did all the paperwork and I voted and everything. And then I had to go to Century.
Oh, okay.
But it was okay. It's a great school. I had really good teachers. Very good teachers.
And Century's like doing a lot of stuff right now. They're like,
they are.
Yeah, they're big time.
They are. They've put a lot of focus into. They always had focus on their e-business academy, their teach academy, their music at that time was really good, and so I was really good with math and science. I was a big nerd. I loved to learn, and that was like a high for me. Like knowing that I can learn complex things fairly easily. That was my high.
Kind of that dinner we went to, man. I was like listening to him going, huh?
It was at the ARCS Foundation. There's a lot of bright people.
Oh yeah.
They always say surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, so that you can grow.
Yeah.
And I'm a really strong believer in that.
That happens to me all the time. I'm usually the dumbest guy in the room, so.
Tampoco. But okay, so from there, I love music, and
that's right.
I've done music since I was introduced to it in school. So since like 15. I was in orchestra, marching band, concert band, jazz band, drumline. That was my de-stressor. It was. I grew up in a single parent house, so it was just my mom, my sister, and I like 6.5 years apart.
Okay.
So
she's younger than you, or older?
She's younger.
Younger. Okay.
Yeah, she's younger, and then myself. It was just
so you were the oldest.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and my mom was always working, 2-3 jobs to try to pay bills and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I was always in school with music, from...
That was like your getaway to keep you busy, to keep you out of trouble. But of course, that was like, let's say, I would say, como para que te relajaras, right? Like something like that. It was kind of like you were just really... But then... Yeah.
They say you need 3 kinds of hobbies. One hobby to distress you, one to challenge you or to keep you fit. To keep you fit, and the other one to make you money. And then this one kind of making me a little bit of money, not much. I just love to do it.
Yeah. How'd you get introduced to AISS? Oh, for you people that don't know what AISS, I'm gonna let Karla and tell you guys exactly what it's all about.
Okay, so I was sitting in science class. I think it was AP Chem. And I get a slip from the administration office to go over at the counseling center. And I'm like, okay, everybody's going, ooh, you're in trouble. That's the first thing students go, ooh. And so I was like, okay, well, I had, you usually have an idea why you're going.
Mhm.
I had no idea.
No idea.
So I was like, okay, well, I don't know what's for. So I go over there and they're like, oh, have a seat. And I sit right in front of like 8 people, and they were all in like a horseshoe, like, arranged in a horseshoe.
Mhm.
And I'm staring at this panel of like older men. And
Was Paul there?
Yes, he was. I didn't know who Paul was at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I was there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I recognized one person in the room, and that was my higher ed coordinator at the
Okay.
time. And so as I sat there, they're like, do you know why you're here? And I was like, no, I don't. And so that's when my higher ed coordinator said, well, we were recommending this individual. She didn't really apply for the program, so there was a whole application process for AISS, which we still do today.
Mm-hmm.
You do turn in the application, 2 letter recommendations, one for your math and one for your science teacher, and then your transcripts and essay and all that kind of stuff. But my higher ed coordinator, because I was such a big nerd, said, this person could be really good for your program. So, I'm like, okay. So they started asking me questions, and that's where I started learning.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's how I ended up learning about AIS. So it was on the spot.
It was on the spot.
Yeah, I didn't know about it. It was still fairly new. I believe it was the second class.
Yeah.
Second and third class that AISS had. So it was still fairly new. Now everybody knows the students from AISS, the students with the blue jackets.
Yeah,
then
I have a jacket.
The blue, and it hasn't changed.
This is it right here, the blue.
Yeah.
And the new cube here, the new coat.
Yeah, so AISS is a college readiness program for high school juniors and seniors. And now, before it was every other year. So if you graduated on an odd year, you had the opportunity to apply for the program. And now we actually take both classes. So we're really excited about that. That was something new that we've had, that we started doing fairly recently. So everybody has the opportunity to apply and become a part of the program. But it's mainly geared towards students that are interested in STEM. Like you don't necessarily have to go into STEM, but if there's an interest.
What is STEM?
STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Right. So
they also added an A, right? There's STEAM.
That's STREAM. Oh no, STEAM. And then there's STREAM now too.
Oh, there's STREAM. What's R?
Yeah,
what's R?
Reading and writing. I believe.
Okay. So
but just
science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Yes.
Okay.
STEM.
So if anybody's interested in those kinds of things, and you guys are currently in high school, or your parents that are watching that are interested in that, you can apply in the Santa Ana School District for this program, AISS, which stands for the Achievement Institute of STEM Scholars.
So for STEM
scholars. Ooh, that sounds good. STEM scholars.
Right there.
Right there, yeah.
So yeah, if there's an interest in STEM, a STEM career is, I like to say, like a universal language. You learn something in STEM and you can apply it pretty much almost anywhere around the world, right? So you would be a doctor, right? That's clearly in STEM, science and technology. Then you can apply those same skills somewhere else. Yes, you would have to do, like residency and some legal things, depending on which country you decide to practice in.
Right.
But overall, those skills are transferable. So there's a high demand for STEM professions. And the goal of AISS is to empower those students, expose them to STEM so that they can get a better, essentially get a better life, something financially stable for themselves and their families. And that was the case for me.
Right.
So I wanted to become a mechanical engineer so that I can help my sister get into college and pay her for college.
When do you do like for me, it was like, I want to be a professional baseball player when I was like 7 or 8 years old because I was playing Little League. When does somebody all of a sudden go, I want to be a mechanical engineer?
It's different for everyone.
But the reason I'm saying is, most people go to school and they're like, I don't know what I want to be. I don't know what I want to do. But when you had that idea, when did you see something? Did you read up on it? Did somebody tell you, hey, this is a good thing to get into? How did you come to that?
So I love the arts. Like I said, I love music. Right. I love drawing, and I love that stuff. There was so many things I wanted to do throughout my whole, life. At one point, I wanted to be a teacher. At one point, I wanted to be a violinist. I wanted to be a doctor, and that's still in the back of my head. So that's never gone away. But an Egyptologist at one point, because I loved archaeology and I loved, there's a lot of things that really I really loved. But one thing that made me decide that mechanical engineering was going to be what I wanted to pursue is when I started getting into like theater tech, and I watched Hellboy, the behind the scenes, and they were talking about how the robotic arm, the big old arm that he has, it's actually a robot controlled backstage. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can build something that looks amazing and apply my, math and science and all of this, make people go, ooh. So you go to like Disneyland, the animatronics, it helps people feel good.
Yeah.
So I'm helping people be happy, and I'm using my math and my science skills as well. So that's when, like, you know what? Mechanical engineering. So I researched it, and it's the jack of all trades. There's so many things you can do, and it also opens a lot of doors. So you don't always have to stick to mechanical engineering, but it's a very highly sought degree for a lot of employers.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of skills that you can just transfer over.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So what school did you end up going? So you were at Century. What school did you end up going to?
So from Century, once I declared, when I was a junior, that's when they start telling you, hey, you got to start thinking about your major. You got to start applying to the universities. All the...
And AISS helps you with all
this. Yes, exactly. So they help you, solidify a major. If you're undecided, that's fine. But at least most of the time, you tend to know at least in what field. And then you got to obviously think about how you're going to pay it. Right, because it's college is not free, university is not free. So they also help you with that.
So even if these kids have because I know most, I've like I said, known this organization for a long time. So even these kids, I know they have like 4.0 and above. Like some of these kids have like 4.5, 4.6. I'm like, what? So even then, they don't qualify for a full ride sometimes for college.
That's what you're saying. Yeah, that's because the competition is so high.
Oh wow.
There's a lot of competition, and there's a lot of requirements, and so yeah, in the AISS, we show them that, hey, you need to have option A, B, and C, right? So if you want to go to a private school, most of the time they're the most expensive.
Yeah.
Right, especially if you're going out of state. To make it easier, because most of the time parents don't have the money to send their students to college. Or there's most
of these kids are sent out of residence.
Exactly.
Mostly, I remember when I started, more Hispanic kids. There was more Latinos. Now we have a little bit more influx of Asian kids, I've noticed. But they still live in Santa Ana, and they're low income, and their parents probably aren't people that have the money to pay for all these things. So it's very important for us to support them, especially here in Santa Ana. Santa Ana is one of the densest cities in all United States, and more than anything, like you were saying, your mom had two jobs to pay the rent because the rents are so much. I just came back from a rent commission meeting with the city, and it's like my heart, especially when I met Paul Reardon, the El Jefe. I met him. And I started talking to him, and he's like, "Oh, I need to get you on board on this." And ever since then, I've been on board with him. It's one of those things that it's the next step for these kids.
Yes. Yeah. So a lot of like career exposure and financial literacy, all of these things to come from the parents, from the family, and a lot of the times, in this community, because we have a lot of parents that just work so much. They don't have the ability to give this kind of experience and this knowledge to their kids.
Yeah.
And that's where we come in. We bridge that gap.
Right.
Right. We help with counseling. We help with financial literacy. Yeah. Obviously, taking the students to college campuses so that they can see what a college life would look like. Like I said, scholarships, we make them apply to at least 10 scholarships, right? So the rate back when I was in high school, it was like if you apply to 10 scholarships, you might get one if you're lucky.
Oh, wow.
Right, so you just got to keep going. You got to, you got to have some grit. Not often a strength. So we help them. We have specific writing instructors that help them hone on those writing skills. And then, we make them research at least 10 universities and apply at least to 10 universities.
Right. Yeah. And it's amazing because these kids are applying to, UCLA, Stanford. They're applying in
MIT.
Notre Dame, MIT.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, these schools that most parents don't even recognize. I remember that my first experience when I first came on, Paul said to me, "Hey, Luis, there's this family that this kid got a full ride to to Stanford, and so want to know." I started saying, "It's Santa College, porque no va a Santa College?" And Tom said, "This is Stanford. This is not Santa College." Well, se va a ir. He's not going to come back. No, he's going to come back, and he's going to come back with a degree from Stanford. I go, Santana College no es lo mismo. So you have to explain it to the families. The families don't understand that, and a lot of that is cultural.
Yes.
Because we, being first generation or second generation here, sometimes are not the ones that went to college, or your parents are not the ones that went to college. They're trying to, like you said, provide money to pay the rent, pay the bills, pay for the food, pay for all that stuff. So this program is very dear to my heart, like I said, because it's one of those things that not a lot of people know about it, and and these kids, we can't leave these kids at 4.0 and just leave them there. They got to go to the next level.
Yeah, and a lot of these kids have like 4.5s, I don't know how they're getting 4.7s, but they're getting 4.7s. They're very bright individuals that if they had, this kind of knowledge, they can do amazing things.
Yeah.
If we could help, hundreds of students, we would. Unfortunately, that's not, there's always a limitation because of funding and that kind of stuff.
And that's why you're here too, also to talk to the people out here about the great event that we're having on June 5th.
Yes. So AISS has one big fundraising event every year, and it's called Bridging the Gap. AISS Bridging the Gap in 2025 for this year. It's happening on June 5th at the Elks Lodge. It's a beautiful venue. Mm-hmm. It's really, really nice, and it's local. And we have silent auctions, live auctions, where there's going to be music. It's a really nice event. Not this time, but maybe next time. Yeah.
Or bring out the salsa band.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice.
Maybe that'll draw some more people. No, I was talking to somebody. Said maybe that'll draw more people. We say we're gonna have a live salsa band after. Maybe that would, that's a good idea. Maybe that would draw people, saying, "Hey, we're gonna have entertainment,"
Yeah.
And then you guys got a keynote speaker, I heard.
We did. So we're gonna have our wonderful Mayor of Santa Ana, Valeria Mescua, speak at our event. She actually spoke at one of our fundraising events, the Sing Gala, but 10 years ago. Oh.
I always talk about that one student that went to MIT. Edgar, right? Yes. That's his name. I don't remember his last name. I remember his name was Edgar. And I said, this kid went there to MIT, and now he works for NASA.
Really?
Yeah, you know.
Oh, wow. I know.
Didn't know that,
the last time I heard about Edgar, because he was a good friend of mine, he was in the pharmaceutical industry, and he was in South Korea.
Oh, so he moved now, maybe.
So I know that he's been trying to come back, and because we have a lot of alumni that come back.
Yeah.
It's just a good program. And but he's been on and off. I know he's super busy. He's always really busy.
Yeah.
But if he's an asset, wow.
That's what I heard from last time. I might stand corrected, but I heard that, and I tell that to people, and they're like, "What?"
That's really neat.
You got a Hispanic at MIT that ended up at NASA, or something like. I'm pretty sure it's NASA.
Yeah, he has a pretty amazing story.
Yeah. So let's go back to you. So you went from Century High School to what school? I'm sorry.
So I applied to Berkeley at the time. It was between Berkeley and Harvard.
Okay.
And they were both top in mechanical engineering. And I got into Berkeley, and I was so excited. And my mom was like, "Don't go." It's like, "I'll go with you." I'm like, "No, Mom, you stay here. You stay here. I'll come back. It's far enough to I can try looking if I really get homesick, and then just go back."
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I was AB 540. Mm-hmm. So there was very little financially for me. I couldn't apply to FAFSA. I couldn't apply to a lot of these grants. The only way I could pay was through some kind of financial aid from the college, which they didn't have at the time that now they do, which is great. Scholarships and through work. Right. So I had enough money to pay for the tuition and for some of the other fees. I didn't have, and I did not account for dormitory. The dormitory was $10,000 more
Oh wow.
and I was 8 short. So I had to come back.
Mm.
I had to withdraw from the university and ended up going to Santa Ana College.
Okay.
Best professors I've ever had.
At Santa Ana College.
They all had doctorate degrees.
Shout out to Santa Ana College,
yes,
guys.
Yes, amazing. Like I was in Mesa, and they were so supportive. So I paid my whole way with scholarships and with work. I tutored for my entire college career, basically. And yeah, I ended up transferring to Cal State Long Beach because I learned my lesson. I'm like, you know what? I know in the position I'm in, so I'm gonna go to Cal State Long Beach. It has a great mechanical engineering program, and yeah, so I went there, graduated with honors, had my mechanical engineering degree, and I had a job literally the week after graduation.
You had a job.
I had a job. I only took Saturday and Sunday off because graduation was on Friday, and then I had to go into work.
Oh wow!
But tip for everybody that's on that same boat: take a little break. Take like at least a week break, enjoy it, relax, and then come in fresh to work. I wish I would have done that.
You jumped right in.
I jumped right in. I was so excited. Oh my god, I had a job. I can make like
money.
Oh my gosh, I can make a good chunk of money because at that time, entry level engineer is anywhere between $60,000 and $70,000. So that was life changing for me and for my family. So I was able to, tell my sister, hey, you don't have to worry for the same thing for me for college. Like I can pay your college.
Nice.
And that was my big goal. Right. So I was able to do that. But yeah, so then I went there and I worked for Applied Medical as a process engineer for a couple of years. And at time, in college, I met my now husband, and he
at Long Beach.
At Long Beach,
okay.
Yeah, Cal State Long Beach, in the pep band, because of course I still had to keep up with my music.
Right.
So
and he plays too, right?
He plays trumpet, and I was playing baritone, and then jumped over to the valve trombone because it's basically the same thing, and super fun. It's awesome. Made a lot of good friends, but yeah, I met him there, and he was a chemical engineer.
Okay.
And he was working on his own thing. He has
shout out to Sean.
Yeah, shout out to Sean. I love you. And he has the business mindset. He wanted to work for himself. And be his own boss.
Entrepreneur.
Yes, absolutely. That was something that I never really had envisioned for me because my thought was, hey, I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna climb the corporate ladder, and that's how I'm gonna make my living. Mm-hmm. And he totally changed that for me, and I'm very happy that he did. You always learn, and I've learned a lot from him. Right. So he started his own business, was consulting on product development. So he had a lot of experience with plastics, because he was chemical engineering, and at Cerritos College they had this whole plastics program, and so he learned molding, he learned how to do tooling, he learned a lot of stuff. And so during college, he was taking on projects on the side. And little by little, he's like, I want to make this full time. And while I'm working at Applied, I'm like, well, can you really make the company grow if you were full time on this? And he said, yes. I was like, okay, I'll handle all the big bills. Just focus on the company.
Wow.
And so it grew. And then 10 years later after that, we had 25 employees.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. I quit Applied Medical to, like, hey, can the company afford me that? Yeah, okay. And then I was in operations. I handled all the, all the behind the scenes stuff, everything that has to happen with a business. So like HR, operations, client. Anyways, learned a lot.
It's a lot of work.
Yes, it was very different.
Paperwork and filing stuff and getting stuff to the state and making sure this is covered, making sure you got workers' comp, making sure all
insurance.
That.
None of that was taught to you in college. You had to learn that on the spot. So all that critical thinking that everybody tells you, it comes into play because you're always learning. And thank goodness for this thing called the internet, because all the information is in there. Like there's a lot of really good information. There's a lot of people creating forums to share the knowledge. There's not a lot of gatekeeping. So it's
amazing when you can find out, sometimes when I get stuck on stuff, I'm like, I just go on there and ask it. Yeah. Nowadays, with AI, you can just ask.
ChatGPT.
You just ask it and it gives you the answer.
Right.
It's like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So then you guys opened up your business.
Yeah.
So what's the name of your business?
It's called Terra Engineering.
Terra Engineering.
Yeah, it's a product development and manufacturing company. So we get clients saying, hey, I have a better idea of a microphone. I want it to light up, and I want it to have heat so that in case it's super cold and someone's outside, it warms up your hands.
Some idea.
Yeah, full, manufacture it, assemble it, and it's all turnkey. So vertically integrated shop, all here in the States. We make everything here in the States.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. There's a lot of different projects. We've had things for the automotive industry, so hydrogen cars, when the hydrogen market, and they bought those. Yeah, so we got a big project for that, and we're still doing them every once in a while. Yeah, we get Wednesday, Tuesdays, like, hey, we're looking for vent stacks. Can you guys still manufacture them? We've had other countries ask us for those too. It was the weirdest thing. Yeah, France was emailing us, and I don't remember the other one was, but yeah, we had other countries asking us because you can see that, and it tells you from where it's coming from. So that was interesting. So we had that. We've had pet products, a lot of pet products.
A lot of pet products
because it's an easy industry.
There's money in the pet industry.
Yes, they're adorable. Who doesn't want to take care of the pets?
Billions of dollars. I mean, I'm talking millions of dollars. Lots of money because people, they've got like sweaters, they've got all kinds of different plates, all kinds of different things for them nowadays.
Yeah, yeah. So there's we've had quite a few there. We've had some combs. So we had a customer called Twisted Up. Well, their product was Twisted Up, and it was for Afrocentric hair. So it was the very, very fine curls, very, very frizzy. It's very difficult to style. So for him, it looked like this tennis racket that you put on your hair. You twist it, and it makes these knobs on the hair. It's a style. And the point of this comb was that it was a lot more ergonomic. It was clean, so it was sanitary. And there was the only thing that was out there was this sponge that was nasty, and we reused the product on other people. He's like, no, I have a better idea to make it better. So he came to us, and he was one of the first customers, and he went into Shark Tank. He got Mark Cuban to invest. Yeah, and he made millions of those, and we were making them here for him. Yeah, and then eventually he needed more, and so he had to take it to overseas. Because they needed more, and we couldn't pump up enough. So he's a great success story, and I'm very happy for him. We saw his company grow from literally in his garage to this like $1 million industry. So it's nice. Yeah. So we had a couple people going to Shark Tank. We had toys. We had someone that wanted to design this Titanic ship that would float in the water, and then when enough water got in there, it would sink, right? Which was great. It was such a it was really fun.
Good idea.
Yeah, and then we also had like a lot of industrial applications, like a phone case to hold a specific phone.
They're made out of plastic, of course.
Yeah, and the thing is with you're not gonna, they don't want to do paper anymore. Because there was a lot of issues with that. So they're like, no, you gotta log it on your phone, or on a tablet. And now there's issues where if you have it on the tablet, you have to make sure it's charged. You have to make sure it works, right? Because if it's not logging, then
it's not gonna capture that.
Exactly. Yeah. So they wanted something that could help manage battery life, or lock it into the cabs to make sure that nobody stole it, So the different requirements that the company wanted. So we made thousands of these things, and it was per phone, right? And as an owner, you always want to get probably the most either reliable and inexpensive option out there, right? Because you got to save money. So the market's changing so fast. Like this carrier has a sale for this specific phone, and then 3-4 months later, another carrier, for competition wants this one, and then they're selling that one, and then in another few months they're doing this one. So it was like constant, and like we had to do this one and that one and another tablet. So every 2 to 3 months we had to change. Yeah. So it was a very fast-paced market. And then there's so many things. We've had Like yeah, a lot of different kinds of projects.
It's amazing how development of the product and so forth, and then get it to the market, and
Yeah,
like you said, then it explodes, and then they've got to go to China or wherever they're going to make it because there's so much demand.
yeah,
Wow, that's amazing.
yeah. Or budget.
Yeah,
Budget's always a thing, right?
yeah,
You always try to save money. So
of
where is it
course.
cheaper? Somewhere, if it's done in Mexico, if it's done in Vietnam, if it's done in China, all that's changing right now. So it's
Yeah, of
affecting
course.
everybody.
Everything's changing right now.
Yeah, but it all comes down to what's the client's budget.
Hmm.
Because obviously here labor is more expensive.
Of
So
course.
are they willing to pay the labor?
Hmm.
And there's a lot of people that they do. They want to keep it in the States.
They want to keep it in the United States.
Hmm.
Wow. So tell us about AISS as a vet, and tell us, how we can support, how we can help. Obviously, I saw there was a link. Tell us a little bit about, what your experience is with that and what's going to happen, or anything you want to share with us about AISS.
Yeah. So this event, it's to raise funds for this program. So it's a fairly small provide better resources to these students. These students don't pay anything to be in our program. Okay,
Free.
so it's absolutely free.
Absolutely
Parents don't pay anything. The only thing that we ask them for is their support, right? So it's a commitment from both the student and the
Mhm.
parent,
Mhm.
right? Because to have someone be successful, it does take a village. It takes a
Right.
lot of people to foster these students, and this funding helps us provide study trips. It helps us, take them to pay the buses to take them to the colleges that they were showing them.
Mhm.
It helps with
Yeah.
yes, at this year they get a laptop. What does that mean? Because for a lot of these STEM careers, or when you go into STEM majors, there's a lot of heavy software that they
Programs.
run. Yeah, so
Yeah.
like for engineering, CAD could be very intense on the computing power.
Yeah, takes up a lot of space and a lot of RAM and all that fun stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and it's so, I don't, even if you're working on Microsoft PowerPoint or whatever program you're working on, it's so frustrating when you're just,
It's
you're
slow.
waiting, you're seeing this wheel go like this, and you're
And
like,
kids nowadays,
"Ugh."
they don't want to wait. They don't want to wait. They want everything instant.
Well, yeah, but even us, it's, so.
It's
So,
frustrating. It happens to me sometimes on my computer.
right.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. And, as a business owner, time is money, right?
Time is
You're just like, oh my gosh, I can do this so much faster if it was, if it had this extra amount of RAM, or if it had this other graphic card, right? So we help them get, if it was in the program for 10 years.
Oh.
I was so set and I was so happy because I wouldn't have been able to afford it otherwise.
Like a what, $2,000 computer at least?
About 12 to 1,500.
Yeah.
And that's probably doesn't include some of the software.
Yeah.
So the laptops, and then graphing calculators. I had my graphing calculator till last year. It finally died. And I was so sad. I still have it because I'm hoping I can fix it, open it up and fix it. But I had to get a new one. I was so sad. But I've had that thing for years.
Yeah.
Since 2008.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it finally went.
Wow.
So sad. But anyway, so that, and then obviously the jackets, the gear that they have, we give them a backpack as well. Yeah, and then obviously pays for the staff, right? So it takes people that are good. Paying for the application towards college, because it's not free. Some applications can be the $60-$80, and testing, they require some tests. SAT, ACT are the most common ones. You also got to pay for that, right? And depending on how many reports you have to pull, you have to pay for additional reports.
Yeah.
So
if you're applying to 10 schools, $80 each school, let's say, let's call it, that's $800.
That's $800.
Yeah, that's $800. Where these kids don't have the ability to pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Fees you have to pay for applying to a college, or save it so that when you go to college you can pay for some books, so this helps with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really does take a community, and the way you can help, it's there's always funds are always necessary to run any kind of program. volunteer time. We have great volunteers. I'm just like yourself.
Thank you.
It makes a big difference
Mhm.
because you bring experience, and that's what we're trying to show them. Trying
Right.
to expose all of this. A lot of them are actually interested in business
Yeah.
because there's a lot of perks.
Somos hispanos, man. We all want to be in
We
business.
all want to be your own.
We all want to be
boss,
entrepreneurs. We
right?
don't want to work for someone. We want to be our own bosses.
Yeah. So your experience. Just tell us your story. Everybody has a good story. It's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Right.
Right.
That's what I tell people too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy. Everybody would do it. No,
Everyone
it's not
would do
easy.
it. It's not. Everybody has hurdles. And if I hear like, oh my gosh, and then this was the biggest impact for me from AISS was my mentor.
Mm.
So at the time, our the staff person that was in charge was in the same position that I was, but he was going to get his doctorate.
Oh wow.
And he told me, hey, you can do it.
Mm.
Yeah. Yes, it's gonna be hard, and you're gonna have to work, and it's not gonna be as easy as some of the other students, but it's doable.
Yeah.
So by him sharing his experience with me, I'm like, oh my gosh, someone that's in the same position that I am was able to do it. So those hurdles, a lot of the times you feel alone.
Yeah.
And these students, they're the same way. They feel alone because not a lot of them share, and it's not even for adults. It's not easy to share your struggles.
Right.
So seeing role models and seeing mentors, and talking to them, seeing that hey, it's not.
Is interested out there, if anybody's watching and you guys are interested in coming and talking to the kids, if you're in some kind of business, in the military or so forth, just to give them some kind of idea of how things work. I was privileged actually 3 weeks ago. I went out just to give Alicia a ride, and Debbie's like, "You want to talk to the kids?" I'm like, "What do you want me to talk to them?" And she's like, "Talk to them about networking and projecting and how you should shake hands, how you need to look people in the eyes and stuff like that." Because these kids, I always say they're very book smart, but sometimes they lack a little bit of the street smarts.
Yes.
And you need to have both the street smarts and the book smarts in order to be successful, because you don't want to get taken advantage of. You want people to take advantage of you because you're so smart, but you're so smart only in engineering, for example. But what about anything else? You're not. Right. So you have to have a little bit of everything like that. I know we've given them classes on how to dress. Recently, we did a suit drive for them. So we collected a bunch of suits and said, hey, if these work for you guys, perfect. And I know that day, Debbie had clothing for the girls.
Yeah.
For the girls that day. So yeah. And actually, I have some clothing for girls too right now.
Thank you.
I just collected. It's in my garage. I think I have like 20 boxes of clothing.
Oh,
pero ropa buena. Like good clothes. I mean, like it was like, whew. And I actually got that from somebody that was donated to the people for the fires, that at a point they said no more because there were so many donations. So they sent it back, and they didn't want to take it to the thrift store. Yeah. So I ended up collecting it, and I have it sitting in my garage. But I told Debbie, hey, I got some nice jackets in there, some nice stuff. So we'll get those to AISS. Yeah. Yes. Valerie, meet with Valerie. She's a great supporter of the program. Flyers up there on the screen, guys. You can also reach out to Karla. You can reach out to me. I'm an ambassador for them. I go out and about, and I go to the different events and talk to people about helping these kids, helping them get to the next level. That's why it's called bridging the gap, the gap that they need in order to get to the next level. So it's a great event, and for sure you guys want to be there. Got plenty of time. Anybody's interested in sponsoring too?
Yes.
Sponsorships. This year we're doing. I had talked to you about. There'll be 2 kids that'll be the top scholars. Any businesses out there, any individuals out there that are interested in being the sponsor, which will put your logo on the screen. You'll have a lot of exposure as being a sponsor to these kids to get to the next level. You are bridging the gap.
Yes.
So it'll be a cool event. We'll have a nice silent auction, a nice meal, nice venue, plenty of parking. It's on a Thursday.
Yes, it's Thursday from 5:30 to 8:30.
5:30, 8:30. Mm-hmm. I'm going to convince them to do the salsa band. You guys, and people that are interested in learning about AISS, and then maybe doing a little salsa dancing after that would be cool. So it's a great program, guys. And let's talk about our executive director.
Oh man, she's made a big change into this program. So when I was in AISS, it was somebody else. But I think the class right after is when she took over, and you can see it's grown, and she has so much passion for this program. She's a very well educated. She has a lot of suffixes to their name. So it's really nice. She has an MBA, and I think she has like two post degrees.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so she's again.
Everything she does is for the kids, and she calls them my kids. She has no kids, but she calls them my kids, which is perfect for Debbie, because I know Debbie is all about helping. It's all about helping out Hispanics, Asians, doesn't matter. She's all about helping these kids get to that next level. And I met Debbie at Kiwanis. That's how my interaction was initially with El Jefe and Debbie. I met him at Kiwanis, and we hit it off. We started talking, and next thing you know, we're like, yeah, I'll come out, I'll help out. So it's one of these things that's also very dear to my heart, because I met Mr. Paul Reardon, who started this program, and he was the one that said, I'm going to get a Mexican into the White House.
Yeah, he always said
I want a Mexican president. And yes, he's like, Luis, you can be the president. I'm like, no, I'm not a citizen. I came to this country when I was 2 years old, so I can't be president. But anyways, that's another thing. But yeah, Paul was always all about helping kids. And did you know what school Paul went to?
Santa Ana High School.
Yeah, but he's a teacher. Out there back in the 80s and the 90s, he's the one that started the ROP program in Santa Ana.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Wow. And he's the one that started the Heritage Museum in Santa Ana. And he's the one that also started the Cube in Santa Ana. So all these different projects that he had input into it and decided to help out was his idea. So a lot of these places probably don't have his name on there, but he started. It was an idea. He got together with other people and said, let's do this, let's do that. So I took ROP when I was in high school. It was my way to keep out of trouble. So and that's the thing too with these kids. You want to keep them busy, and if you have anybody who's a really smart kid out there that's interested in
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. Anything else you want to share with them?
It's a really good program.
Yeah.
All I have to say is it's a good program. It's
come out, check it out. You guys will fall in love with it.
Yes.
You'll fall in love with the kids. The kids are very respectful, nice kids. I mean, you go to these high schools, and these kids are always in all the events because they're always the top students in all these schools. Yep. So it's definitely worth your time. How much are tickets? And we have an early bird right now, right?
Yes, early bird. I believe ends May 5th. Mm-hmm. We might extend that. Mm-hmm. But the tickets, if you can see on the flyer right there, I mean my. But I think for starts at $75.
$75.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, $75, guys. And this is, by the way, consult with your tax consultant, but it's all tax. It's a write-off. It's a deduction. So you're helping kids. You're also going to come and buy a bunch of stuff at the auction, and it's all a write-off for you guys. At the end of the year, you give it to your tax consultant, and it's a write-off because we're a nonprofit.
Yes.
So you guys can write that stuff off. So
501c3. Yes.
Having fun, supporting, and then you're able to write that off. It's a win-win-win. 3 different wins right there. So come out, guys. $75 early bird till May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. So, and we're probably going to extend it a little bit, give you guys a little bit more time. But come out and support. Come out and meet Valerie. Come out and meet the kids, the scholars. They're scholars, guys. These guys are going to top colleges. And come out and meet Karla, of course. Come out and meet her. Success story from their alumni. What year were you alumni?
2009.
2009. That's what's.
Yeah, we'll have alumni there. Yeah. If you want to hear about them, some are lawyers, some are doctors. I mean, they're.
We have an actress.
I'm sorry?
We have an actress.
Yeah, we have a rising actress. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's in New York right now doing some acting programs. So there's all these students. They're very hardworking. Yeah. You know, and everybody falls in love with the kids because I keep calling them kids, but they're bright young adults. Yeah. And they're all hardworking, and I mean, you just have to meet them. You have to meet them, and you have to talk to them, and they'll impress you. And that's why everybody comes back. You know, a lot of alumni come back because they want to give back, at least in terms of their speaking. You know, And yeah.
Every year we have the same great supporters that come out. There's school teachers that come out. There's professors that come out. I invited my friend last year, who was an NFL player, to come out. I'll invite him again. So if anybody's interested in coming out, please reach out to us. There's the QR code also you guys can scan, and that takes you straight there. Get your tickets now. Tell friends, tell people how you guys can come out and support us. It's a great program, guys.
Yes, the QR code will take you to Give Butter.
Mm-hmm.
Give Butter is a site where we're hosting our fundraiser. So Give Butter AISS Bridging the Gap 2025, and it should take you there. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. We're on Instagram. You can always go to our website to learn more. There's a contact page there. There's a phone number there, email there. There's, our ambassador too.
Yeah,
so there's multiple ways you can reach us.
Yeah, reach out to us, guys. I mean, you got plenty of time. Put it on your calendar, save that date, so you guys can come out and join us on June 5th, Thursday, June 5th, 5:30 to 8:30 at the Santa Ana Elks Lodge. So really cool event. Well, thank you very much for coming out. I mean, this is great information, and obviously something that we need to get out to the community. A lot of people don't know about it. It's one of these things that people need to learn about it so they understand what we're doing in Santa Ana. Well, thank you very much. And let's thank Karla for coming out. And if you guys want to join us that day, we'd love to have you guys there. It's kind of like a gala, so it's a dress up.
Yeah.
So dress up. It's a pretty not casual, but some business attire.
Business casual.
Business casual. Yeah.
It's a good opportunity to get nice and dressed up. If you have that dress that you don't have anywhere to wear it, come in and rock it. Yeah. It's just a fun event.
Cool. Well, thank you guys. So next week, I want to talk about an upcoming event that we're doing over with these. It's called MASA, which is the Media Arts Santa Ana. It's going to be on May 3rd, and this event is going to be in Spanish, en español. Es Noche de Cine Mexicano. I don't know if okay, thinking about it. So esta va a ser una noche. Well, we're gonna have el cine mexicano. Vamos a tener una película. Vamos a tener personas vendiendo cosas de lucha libre y vamos a tener el concurso a la mejor persona vestida de luchador. Y este evento es 100% gratis. Está aquí en la esquina de la Main y 17 en la ciudad de Santana. Se llama Media Arts Santana. Por eso es MASA, MASA. Vengan y conozcan el lugar. Es una galería de arte y también ahí es un estudio donde también tiene una pantalla verde para hacer también un podcast o algo así también. Yo lo he hecho el podcast de ahí también. Ahí también soy embajador para ellos. I'm actually on the board for that. Pero también vengan, es gratis, 100%. Palomitas va a haber gratis, lo que sea, pero es una cosa cultural, que las familias vengan, traigan a sus niños, todo familiar, y vamos a tener una noche de lucha libre, cine mexicano de lucha libre. So, no sabemos qué película vamos a poner todavía, tenemos como 6 opciones, pero mi buen amigo Víctor, que corre el lugar, está que mayo va a ser de 6 a 9, Masa en Santa Ana. Y that's really it. That's all I got. That was the one thing in Spanish I had for you guys. But next week I'm going to have Sonia Ramirez. You're not related, are you?
I don't think so.
Okay. Sonia Ramirez will be our guest next week. She's a real estate developer, and she's building from the ground up projects and stuff like that. They call her she called the multi understanding duplexes, threeplexes, all kinds of stuff. So next week we'll have Sonia Ramirez come in and talk to us about real estate and development here. So I will see you guys next week, Wednesday, 7:00. It might be in English, it might be in Spanish. It depends on who my guest is. Lucky for me, I can do both. So hope you guys can join us next week at 7:00 Wednesday on OC Biz Live. Thank you very much. We will talk to you guys next week. Bye-bye. Thanks, Oscar. You got it?
Yep.
All right, cool. All right, good job.
Thanks. Oh my gosh, I was like